Contradictive by nature, there are certain things about the INFJ personality type that can be easily perceived as being hypocritical. The question of whether or not this hypocrite label is a mistake all comes down to the specific scenarios the INFJ find themselves in. Ironically, they always have a method to their madness. Welcome back, psychos. Before we get into it, we'd love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel, as well as to click the post notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let's get right into it, starting with Number 1. They happily lend advice, but rarely take the advice of others. With introverted intuition and extroverted feeling as their two main cognitive drivers, the INFJ is one of the best personality types to offer sound advice. With a deeper intuitive understanding of certain subjects, especially those relating to human behavior, combined with their ability to feel the emotions of others as if it were their own, the INFJ quickly connects the dots of others' problems. Known as the counselor type, they incorporate their ability to actively listen with their natural problem-solving skills to offer attainable solutions. They use this ability to stand in others' shoes to find the best possible way forward from the perspective of exactly what they would do if they were that other person. However, when it comes to the INFJ and their own issues, they rarely turn to others for input. In fact, for the rare occasion that INFJs feel the need to vent to a friend or family member, it's almost never with the hopes of reaching a conclusion. And while they appreciate the care that goes into the solutions others offer them, the INFJ rarely trusts anyone else's analyses more than their own. Number 2. They advise the importance of boundaries, yet struggle to set them themselves. Speaking of advice, sometimes the very advice an INFJ gives is difficult for them to practice themselves. One of the best examples of this surrounds the topic of boundaries. Deep down, INFJs know the power and necessity of setting boundaries with others, especially when it comes to maintaining proper mental health and an emotional equilibrium. However, with the fight between their intuitive knowledge of how effective boundary-setting communication can be and their extroverted feeling of how difficult boundaries can be to receive on the other end, INFJs will avoid it at all costs. In fact, this empathetic type will take on another person's internal battles, past traumas, and difficult emotions by being their go-to person, even if the connection is rooted in an underlying toxic codependency. Regardless of an equal give and take, or worse, an overall sense of disrespect, this conflict-avoidant personality type will give their all in fear that their boundary setting will only make matters worse. And yet, setting boundaries remains a recurrent theme in the advice they offer to others. Number 3. They want vast life experiences but can stay stuck in their own head. With the habit of examining their current life and then imagining all it could be, the INFJ often experiences deep and realistic thoughts of how they want their life to be. Whether it be travel, career, relationships, or anything in between, INFJs go through scenario after scenario, hoping to land on something that fuels their motivation. Beyond their own lives and expectations for themselves, they encourage others to live life rather than get stuck in the same old mundane routine. However, when it comes to actually playing out their wildest dreams and fantasies, self-doubts and perfectionism can cause them to stall. For example, they can vividly imagine themselves boarding a plane and starting anew, living out the life of an overseas digital nomad in one of the hottest destinations, when in reality, they're at home scrolling through all the potential destinations, continuously searching for flights and living quarters, only to never actually book the ticket. If we were to take a look inside the brain of any INFJ, you would see a rich and fulfilled life, the ones you see in movies. Yet more times than not, when you take a look at them from an outside perspective, you would see a reserved person, seemingly closed off from the world around them. Number 4. They say they don't care how people perceive their looks, but they do. If you take a deep look into this rare personality type, you'll find that most INFJs are into some form of health, fitness, self-improvement, and alternative forms of fashion. Combined with this perfectionistic-rooted self-betterment, they hold an undeniable pull towards all things of quality and charm. However, with a humble approach to what they define beauty to be, the INFJ often claims that they would never judge a book by its cover, and in the same breath, don't think too much of how other people perceive their looks. The hypocritical nature comes into play when they analyze just how much of their self-improvements sprout from their buried need of acceptance. This lone wolf type, that is often proud of the way they prefer not to conform to current beauty trends, can easily get wrapped up in how they look and how they present themselves to others. They understand that by interacting in a rather materialistic and extroverted world, things like looks and other societal expectations can be used to their advantage. And although they want to stay far away from being the center of attention, they do strive to be perceived as mature and put together. Number 5. They preach of the importance of close connections, yet avoid them at all costs. If there's one seriously contradictory thought process that every INFJ struggles with, it would have to be their longing for close connections, counteracted with their avoidance of letting people in. This introverted at heart type craves deep, meaningful relationships, often daydreaming about what it would be like to have a go-to person in their lives. They preach to others just how important human connection is, and can easily find themselves interested in people they come across, due to their extroverted feeling and thinking functions. However, the hypocritical side of things comes in when they are faced with their daunting lack of trust and lack of interest in spending time with their fellow humans. Most INFJs have a plethora of acquaintances, but due to the walls they put up around their hearts and introverted schedules, they rarely allow connections to flourish past this cordial, surface-level stage. Whether they long for friendships or a romantic relationship, the INFJ's approach to human connection can certainly be labeled as hypocritical. Number 6. They vouch for kindness, yet often portray a cold and reserved demeanor. Now, this hypocritical INFJ phenomenon can be a serious hit or miss. Depending on the social scenario, this personality type can either turn on their chameleon-like friendliness to make others feel comfortable or take the back seat to observe and analyze. Don't get us wrong, INFJs are certainly friendly creatures at heart, but when they're caught with their overly welcoming high-tuned voice and painted smile, you can bet it's a mix of nerves and fakery. They have no problem playing friendly human when needed, but deep down, they much prefer to quietly observe from a distance. Or better yet, spend their time daydreaming in their vast imaginative inner world. Ironically, this is where the INFJ's RBF, also known as resting B face, takes full effect. This constant outer inspection, combined with their complex inner world, can cause serious disassociation, making them appear distant, cold, and even judgy towards others from an outside perspective. Yet, they'll be the first person to go out of their way to offer a kind gesture or lend an open ear to someone in need. Number 7. They go all in or not at all. Some may say the INFJ is an extremist because of their tendency to be on one side of the scale or the other. Rarely caught in between, this analytical type is often perceived as being confident and in control, yet they can easily lose themselves to their passions and overthinking perfectionism. No matter what aspect of life, the INFJ is usually caught between going all in or not going in at all. In love, the INFJs will love with their whole heart or become completely distant. In terms of luxuries, they will buy the best of the best or hold off and not purchase anything at all. In health, the INFJ will obsessively fall into a regimen of training hard and eating healthy, but then find themselves spending days binge-watching Netflix and eating junk. Although there are transition periods between the two extremes, the INFJ is known to not stay in the middle lane for too long. This quality can not only serve to be extremely confusing for the people around them, but also quite hypocritical of those who look up to the INFJ. Well, psychos, that's it for today. Before you go, Let us know in the comments below whether or not you think INFJs could be considered hypocritical by nature. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video.